His arms grow in length. He gets that weird kind of, I don't know, like dimple on top of it. I can't even describe it, Jay. It's like a mound of cartilage on top of his head, and he has slowly become his father. Yuck, yuck. And Roxanne recoils in fucking horror. He's like, it's me, Roxanne. It's Max. She's like, no, get away from me. No. And then we cut. Hello, and thank you for checking out the video. I just want to let you know that I not only create content on my YouTube channel, Class in the Glass, but I'm also on Twitch, where I review movies, cartoons, and TV shows live, while also playing single-player games and multiplayer games. I also have a Patreon where subscribers have access to hundreds of video and audio commentaries for films and cartoons, as well as podcasts and videocasts. In the meantime, thank you again for watching. Enjoy the video.
A little smoke, kid.
A goofy movie.
But chat, we got some stuff on the docket for today. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a scene by scene breakdown, chat, to a goofy movie, the sequel to the hit Disney animated series Goof Troop, chat. But was the movie appreciated for its time? No, it was not. No one saw it in theaters, but it found new life. It found a second life on video, on demand, chat. And it was discovered, as I said during my video commentary, it was discovered and raised up from the grave thanks to our people, chat, my people, millennials. We did this, chat. We brought this film great success over time. And now it's a fucking hit. Now it's a beloved 2D animated film like it always should have been back in the day. And of course, you had Extremely Goofy Movie, its sequel, which I also like quite a bit. And it acts as the end, if you will, of Goof Troop. But there's more. I think there's more stories to be told, Chad. I have my own ideas to how to do this again. How to do a new Goof Troop sequel series, chat. Let's do the, let's do kind of the thing the Proud Family's doing. I got some ideas, but I will reveal what my ideas are after the movie review, because we got to get into the nitty-gritty details of this film. But before I do so, I need to ask you a very important question. That question, Sebastian Sierra, good to see you. But I got to ask you a very important question, chap. That question being, how many of you have seen the 1995 2D animated cult classic, A Goofy Movie? Very curious, chat. The sequel to Goof Troop. I think my mom likes the Goofy Movie more than I did. It was that 90s generation. Whether you were raising kids or you were a kid, people loved this movie. Matt's got his own ugly show. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about making shaping. You're ahead of me right now. Matt Zara, I've seen it. Cat's says yes. Helen Berger says I have making shaping. I have. Cat's heart hands. Alex Bernal, I have. Rocket yup. Duma, I have it. Deep Zerka, I seen it a long, long time ago. Need to watch again. It's on Disney Plus. Perfect place to watch it. Giant Elfman, of course. Bat Boy, I was a 90s kid, so of course I saw every big Disney film that came out in theaters. Tevin Campbell is from goddamn Ryan. He's singing Eye to Eye. Indeed, she has Powerline, which is the combination of Prince and Michael Jackson. That's what he is, Chad. So everybody, it's Powerline. Everyone knows Powerline, Chad. Those songs are pretty fucking good. Chris, does your story include Goofy telling his son Max? Fuck, that's true. Goddamn right. We learned that. I mean, we learned that in Goof Troop that, okay, something had sex with Goofy and made this child. I am being honest, I'm not as big as a fan as some people. That's fine. That's no problem. To each their own, of course. Trailblazers, report to the Goof Troop, and we'll always stick. Oh, it's the song. See, I haven't seen the show in so long I forgot how the theme song goes. But yeah, you're a goddamn Trailblazers is a fan of Goof Troop. Very nice. And I know my Michael Jackson cast, of course. I mean, if you played this, I'd be like, oh, it's Michael Jackson. It sounds like Michael Jackson singing all these songs, chat. Didn't, famously, Michael Jackson wanted to voice this character? Yeah, that would be kind of fun. What was the name of Goofy's dance move? Wasn't it the little teapot? That's his fishing thing. He does the whole fishing thing, and it's north, south, west, and it's I'm a little teapot, and he throws the fucking fishing line, catches Bigfoot. Holy shit, I mean, he gets the steak from Pete, and then he fucking casts his line, and then Bigfoot gets it, and he just harasses them for 24 fucking hours. It's a nightmare, chat. But it led to a wholesome moment and a moment of betrayal, but we're not there yet in the movie. Not there yet in the movie. Who's Maximum? We don't know. The only thing we know is that I'll get into the details. I'm gonna set this up, chat. I'm I'm gonna set the premise for a Goofy movie for you guys. But before we get into all that, I did want to go ahead and talk about my history of this film, some of the background of this movie. So yeah, we have a lot of people who have seen this movie. That's awesome, and most of you are fans, some of you not, which is totally fine. I don't mind that at all. But yeah, Chad, I can proudly say that I saw this film in 1995 in the theaters, and I loved it. You know, and I've had an appreciation, a love for this film ever since then. Because I don't know, there's just something there's a wholesomeness to it. I mean, I grew up watching Goof Troop as a child, and so naturally when they were making movies, like hell yeah. I even remember though when I went to see the film in the theaters, like there was actually not a big crowd, and that's because the movie didn't do very well, despite being very popular on Disney on the Disney Channel. Only made about $37.6 million, a budget of $18 million. But in the years since, the movie's been reappraised, reanalyzed, and now is looked at as a classic of the 90s, Chad. And they were also kind of comparing it to a lot of other Disney films that were coming out around the same time. Like, you know, this was the Disney Renaissance era, Chad. It was after like the 1980s where Disney was really struggling. But then they did The Little Mermaid and the Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, Lion King, and then, you know, all those were huge commercial and critical successes. And so they were expecting the same thing with a Goofy movie. It just didn't live up to that. And I think maybe because it was just the fact that a Goof Troop was on TV, parents went, no, we have a Goofy movie at home. It's called Goof Troop. But then once it went to video on demand, people started buying it, people started watching it, and in the years since, like I said, it's been reappraised and it's beloved. Thank you, Jason, for the 100 biddies. Evening to you. And I remember, I haven't watched it in a while. Like, I watched it recently for my audio, video, and commentary. I must have not seen this movie in like a decade, maybe 15 years. It's been a very long time, Chad. And there's stuff that I just forgot about it. You know, I've talked about this before, but I'm serious, though, when I say it. It's like this movie clearly was created by furries and made for furries, Chad, or it awakens something in children. Because I'm sorry, Chad, but it's a goddamn cold, hard fact. But they sexualize so many of the characters in this movie, especially the female goofs or the female anthropomorphic dog people in this. As I said before, all the women in this film, a lot of the teenagers are characters like Roxanne, who is she has her own category, you know, on DeviantArt. I mean, Ruth, you type in Roxanne, Rule 34, you know what you're getting. All the women in this film, they all have curves, they all have big busts, they have big butts, and they're all in fucking crop tops, Chad. All in crop tops, showing off that little belly button. And it's like, yeah, no wonder fucking Max Goof is lusting, having wet dreams the whole time. He has all these beautiful anthropomorphic dog women surrounding him, Chad. But I'm sure that it's like that little thing, like as a child, because you don't think of any of these, you know, to think of things in sexual terms when you're a kid, when you're 5 years old watching this movie, but it implants something in you. And I feel like that's what happened for like a lot of kids after this, because there was just a shit ton. Oh, Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny was also one of those things too. This was pre-Lola Bunny. I think, yeah, it was like, because the year later you had Space Jam. And she was sexualized. And you can even find concept art of Lola Bunny they want to put in the movie where they actually showed more of her bust and cleavage and shot. There's this infamous concept art scene where Lola Bunny, I'm going off on a tangent about erotic female furry characters, but you can find this online where it's Lola Bunny shooting a basket, you know, going for a slam dunk, and when she shoots, her shirt lifts up and you see underboob, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It's fucking crazy. These animators are super horny, Chad, and it clear as day. Within the first 60 seconds, not the first 5 minutes, the first 60 seconds of this movie, you have Maximilian Goof, Chad, in a wet dream with the apple of his eye, Chad, the woman that he wants to give all of his affection to, Roxanne, and they have her just in this dress, hugging every curve. It's like, give me a break. People say this is just wholesome family entertainment. It is. It's got some great songs. It's got some great moments between, well, obviously Max and Roxanne. They're super cute. Also, people have these like misconceptions about Roxanne because watching, it's like, oh my God, she's just as dorky as he is, which I think is also charming in a way. But also the wholesomeness between Max and Goofy. Like I love their relationship. You know, it's father-son bonding, and they struggle, but they overcome. They find things that they have in common. But Goofy also accepts that Max is growing up, and Max has to accept that his dad's gonna love him despite Max going through all these changes. Like there's a lot of great things about this film, and you know, watching again, I had a new appreciation. But I also realized people who made it are very horny. That's just a fucking fact, chat. 25 years later, it's still on full display. But, my friends, we got to go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details, the scene-by-scene breakdown, chat, of the 1995 2D cult animated classic, A Goofy Movie. We start in a field of golden wheat, chat, of golden wheat, and all we hear is, Max, Max, where are you? Max. And then Max Goof goes, huh, huh. He wakes up in the golden field, chat. He's wearing all white clothes. It's like he might as well be in another world, chat. He might as well be in heaven. And he hears the sweet, sweet voice of the woman of his dreams, literally the woman of his dreams, the woman of his affections, chat, the woman he hopes to someday be his girlfriend, Roxanne, chat. And he follows her voice through this golden field of wheat, until he finally comes to her, chat, on a Greco-Roman pillar, and just right on top of the pillar, I'm not joking, lying down, sticking her ass out for him and going, Max, and just welcoming him into her bosom, chat. And she floats down to him. He's like, Mommy. She floats down to him. He catches her, spins around. He's laughing. She's laughing, chat, until they fall into each other's arms, holding each other. And then she just, as he looks over at her, she just shows off everything. And she's about to crawl on top of him, and it's like, kiss? Nah, they're gonna fuck. I'm like, this is a Disney film, what's happening? Right when they're about to smooch, chat, right when they're about to make a whole bunch of goofy, derpy babies, all of a sudden she goes, oh my God. And we see, he's like, what? And we see that Maximilian Goof, chat, Max Goof, his teeth have enlarged, and so he feels the changes, chat. He's going through the change that we did. All the hormones are pulsating through his young, supple, teenage body. And his muzzle grows outward just like his father's, chat. All of a sudden, he sprouts larger feet. His arms grow in length. He gets that weird kind of, I don't know, like dimple on top of it. I can't even describe it, chat. It's like a mound of cartilage on top of his head, and he has slowly become his father. Yuck, yuck. And Roxanne recoils in fucking horror. He's like, it's me, Roxanne. It's Max. She's like, no, get away from me. No. And then we cut. And Max is woken up, and he's messed himself, chat, as you do. His wet dream has become a nightmare. His nightmare, chat, is becoming his father, of course. And of course, he gets a call. He hears his call on his phone, ring a ding ding. It's a Mickey Mouse phone. Ha! I paid for this fucking movie. Mickey Mouse makes a cameo in the film, chat. I was like, oh my God, Mickey's in this. I couldn't believe it. But this is also kind of set in the same world. Like Goof Troop is also set in the same world as House of Mouse, because they bring back all his original actors. I mean, Bill Farmer's still the voice of Goofy. Jason Marsden, he's still the voice of Max and that. And it's like, oh shit. So when Max is going to college, it's kind of cool. When Max is going to fucking college in Extremely Goofy Movie, he also works as a valet in House of Mouse. It's like, oh, look at that. It's all connected. I think it's pretty cool. But they're all doing this. He wakes up, the Mickey Mouse one's going, ha 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 ha, and he picks up the phone. And he's like, whoa, what's going on? And it's PJ, Chad, his best friend PJ, who is the son of Pete, who is longtime Goofy villain, longtime Mickey Mouse villain. He's kind of like the shitty neighbor of Goofy. But PJ's calling him because he's like, hey, dude, where are you? He's like, what are you talking about? It's still like 5 in the morning. He's like, no, it's not, dude. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. And he hits the clock, and the clock is all busted and old, and it's like 10 minutes until he's got to go to school. And he's like, oh, shit. He's like, dude, I think we should just call this whole thing off. I don't think it's going to work. He's like, no, I'm not going to spend another day known as a loser, known as just a regular goof at school. We're going to do this, PJ. I'm going to be be there, and we're gonna get Bobby. Is he on his way too? He's like, yeah, Bobby's setting up, man. But did you bring him? Did you bring him his payment? I got it right here. It's like, is fucking Max dealing drugs? What are they buying, chap? What is Bobby's payment? We will soon find out. But he's panicking. He's going around his room, chat. He's in his undies, his underwear, chat. He's cleaning himself off. He's got to put on new fresh pants. And then who fucking enters the room? Yuck. How you doing, son? It's Goofy. And he's like, Dad, I'm naked. He's like, whoops, sorry. And he gets out of the room and he knocks and he goes, are you ready? Are you ready, Max? Do you need a fresh pair of underwear? He's like, Dad, I don't have the time. I'm fine, okay? He's like, you should eat your breakfast before you go to school. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Like, Goofy, like, really cares. But Goofy, he doesn't. Occasionally, he cares too much and he doesn't really respect boundaries all that much. And he doesn't talk to his son when he needs to, because Goofy's constantly trying to overcompensate because he loves his son. Like, that's always on full display, but he's a little naive. He's not stupid. Like, Goofy would think, oh, Goofy's an idiot, Goofy's stupid. He's not really dumb in this movie. Like, he actually he makes a lot of great points. He's just kind of a klutz. And I think he cares too much. Like, that's really his biggest flaws in this film. And he's unwilling to accept the fact that his son is growing up. Because again, this is a sequel. I always thought that this was the movie takes place before Goof Troop. It doesn't. A Goof Troop has happened where, that's his best friend. That's his buddy, his son. And he's been with him for all these adventures. But now Max is a teenager. He's in high school. He's going through the change yet. And Goofy's just not willing to accept that. He's not used to that. And he struggles with that constantly throughout this film and also an extremely Goofy movie. And Max is like, Dad, I got it. Don't worry about it. I can get something at school. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, I'll just clean up. Do you have any dirty laundry? And he comes in there with the vacuum cleaner and the, his laundry basket. And he starts vacuuming up everything in the room. And eventually he vacuums up this, he has this cardboard cutout of this celebrity singer power line. Like I said, it's based off of Prince and Michael Jackson, maybe a little Eddie Murphy in there too. And he accidentally sucks up the head of the cardboard cutout. Max is like, Dad, what are you doing? And he like rips it out of the vacuum cleaner. He's like, Dad, look what you did. You ruined it. And he's like, gee, I'm sorry, son. Who's that even supposed to be? He's like, Dad, that's Powerline, the biggest pop star out there right now. He's like, pop star? Back when I was your age, I used to always listen to the mambo. I love those mambo songs. Come on, son, dance me. Bum, 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 bum. And there's Dad's like, Dad, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't touch me. It's like, I gotta go, Dad. I gotta go. And so Max, he finally leaves. He's like, okay, I'm on my way to school. All right, I have plenty of time. I got it. It would be no problem. I'm not gonna be a fucking loser no more. And of course, Goofy walks out. He's like, son, you forgot. He also still makes his lunch, chat. He still makes him a brown bag lunch. Here you go, Max. Like, all right, thanks, Dad. And then these fucking kids ride by on their bikes and they all go, ha ha, your father's showing you public affection. Ha ha, our dads don't do that. And it's kind of sad. It's like, why are you making fun of him? The fact that his dad's showing him affection. He gives him a big old kiss on the cheek before he leaves. And then we get the first song of the movie, chat, after today. They've been laughing since I can remember, but they're not gonna laugh anymore. No more Maxie the Geek, no more Goof of the Week like before. No more algebra tests till September. No more looking at losers like him. No more having to cheat. No more mystery beat. No more gym, no more gym, no more gym, no more gym. And of course, the song keeps going on, chat. And it's like, I am not going to look like a fool. I'm going to talk to Roxanne. Not going to look like a goddamn loser, chat. Because I think in his mind, it's interesting. Because even I've forgotten. In the film, Max has this a view that, oh, Roxanne, she's like really popular and I'm a loser. And the thing is with Roxanne, she's as big a dork as he is. And the thing, you can even tell, like, how the animation, I will say, like, despite them, the animators clearly being infatuated with this character and how she's sexualized, and the voice actors, I think, also does a great job. Like, again, I think for a lot of people, this was their first First time hearing Jason Marsden, who would voice Max Goof and all the other various adaptations along the years. He's been in everything. Static Shock. He was Spirited Away. The guy's been working in animation for like 25 years. But I do want to give a shout out to Kelly Martin, who has also voiced Roxanne and everything as well. And I like her inflections. I like that she too, like Max, is super unsure of herself. And even the animators, she's very shy. She's super shy. And she plays with her hair a lot. And she sometimes, like I notice when she's playing with her hair, her finger gets tangled. She's like, oh God, oh geez. and it's cute. It's totally cute. And so he's doing this big fucking dance number, chat, and he's on top of the bleachers right before it hits 8. You got to go to class. And he trips over himself. And, everyone's like, you're a fucking loser, Max Goof, just like your dad. And they all walk away. But who's the first person to go over there and check on him, chat, to make sure he's doing okay? Thank you. Oh, we got a new follower, chat. We got Lou Kane. Lou Kane, thank you for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry. Doing a little movie review, little scene by scene breakdown for a goofy movie talking about, Roxanne and how she's an object of many sexual fantasies, but also a very wholesome character within this film. And I like how when he falls down, the first person to go over to and make sure he's okay is actually Roxanne. And she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, whoa. And he just stares at her and she goes, hi, how you doing? And it's like, hi, oh, you, no, it's, I'm good. I'm totally good, Yuck. And he does a yuck when he laughs. And he feels mortified because that's how his dad laughs. And he, in his mind, he's like, oh, she's gonna think I'm a loser, think I'm a geek, and like I'm a dweeb. And she laughs because she thinks his laugh is funny. She thinks it's cute. And she does the whole hair twirly thing, and she's super shy. And he's like, anyway, I'll see you. I gotta go. And he just runs away. And she's just kind of staring like, oh. And, she's kind of sad because she wants to talk to him, chat. She finds him charming. Eventually, she goes into the school. Also, all the female characters, all big boobs, big asses, crop tops, chat, everywhere within this school. Like, there's this one shot when he's doing the whole song after today. He literally bumps into this one girl and gets almost like caught in her cleavage. I'm like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Emily, good to see you. Hope you're doing very well. It's been a while. Emily Fears. Welcome. Social anxiety at its peak indeed. And so he's walking through the halls, and he just feels super embarrassed. But eventually he runs into his best friend, PJ, chat, who, is the sad, put-upon son of Pete. Pete's a piece of shit. Pete's a bad fucking father. And yet PJ, still a sweet kid, clearly dealing with many of the same issues that Max has, social anxiety, low self-esteem, sadly. I think, thankfully, PJ has, like, a good mom. What's her name? Peg from Goof Troop. She's not in this movie. The only parent you see, well, other than Goofy and Pete as well. You see Roxanne's father. But thank God PJ needs to get the fuck out of there. He needs to get out of that environment, chat, because Pete's a toxic piece of shit. But he goes up there, and because, fucking Max, he's embarrassed. He's like, she's going to think I'm a fucking goof, like a dweeb. He uses the word spaz, which is, very used term in the 90s. And Pete's like, oh, don't worry about it, Max. I mean, after today, she's going to think you're the coolest kid in school. And then all of a sudden, he's like, he's asking Peach, so is Bobby here? Does he have the equipment ready? And then we have Pauly Shore's Bobby Carey. He's like, hey, guys, how you doing? You got my payment? And like, don't worry, man. We guys like, hey, don't give it to me so fast, man. Don't give me so fast, okay? Make sure none of the babes are looking. And so they take us like, is this literally going to be fucking drugs? PJ is Carl Weezer. PJ is just like a more subtle Carl Weezer. Of course, famously voiced by Rob Paulson, Chad. He's been voice acting for nearly 35 years at this point. Incredibly talented man. But we have, Pauly Shore. Yeah, his name is Bobby, right? Is it Pauly? Oh no, Pauly Shore. But I think his character's name is Bobby. And they're like, are they going to give him fucking drugs or something? And no. It's fucking Cheese Whiz, chat. It's goddamn Cheese Whiz. And he's like, oh, come to Papa, baby. It's like, you need to start snorting that shit up his nose. And he just eats it. And it's probably the most disgusting scene in the movie. It's because it's just like you hear the sloppy sounds he's making. It's just running down his neck. And it's like, Jesus. Apparently, Cheese Whiz is a slippery slope, chat. It goes Cheese Whiz, Mary Jane, cocaine, and then heroin. But you start with the cheese whiz, and it just goes downhill after that. This guy's just ingesting all of it. And they're like, all right, man, did you get the equipment safe? He's like, don't worry, man. I got you. And then we cut, and there's a school assembly in the morning, chat. And we have the character of, Stacy, who I think is like the student body president. And we see that she's just doing this announcement, basically telling everyone, like, okay, this is what's going to be happening with, the curriculum, the last day of school and everything. And when she's doing this announcement, all of a sudden we hear, it was like, I forgot about this. We hear this one guy in the crowd going, Stacy, baby, give it to me, girl. Give it to me, girl. Stacy, baby, give it to me, girl. And we cut, and it's like a fucking nerdy kid in a Trek outfit. And she's like, thank you. It's like, what's going on? What does he want Stacy to give him, chat? I'm like, it's just weird. I just don't understand it. It's like, there's a lot of sexual innuendo in this movie. Jay Pizza Boy, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to stream. Hope you're doing well. We're talking about Stacy, and apparently one guy's like, Stacy, give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. She's like, thank you. Also, I want to let everyone know that, of course, I am going to be hosting the pay-per-view event of the year, Powerline. He's doing his LA show. It's all of his new songs on his latest album. First time he's doing all this shit live. Come over to my place. We're going to have a fucking party. Like, yeah, Stacy, give it to me. And she's like, now I'd like to introduce our Principal Major, who is voiced by Wallace Shawn, Chad. I mean, you know this actor. He plays one of the villains in The Princess Bride. He's the voice of Rex from Toy Story, Chad. And he also did this movie. And, of course, everyone's like, woo, everyone loves Stacy. Everyone's clapping. As soon as she says his name, just fucking dead silence. And Principal Major's out there. He's like, well, kids, now it's the end of the year. And I'm often asked by many of you in attendance right here, how should I not waste my summer vacation? How can I still pursue academia? And everyone's like, that's a fucking lie, which is true. But while this is all going on, we see this one kind of jock guy who taps Roxanne. So he's like, hey, Roxanne, just want to ask you, are you going to be going to that party at Stacy's, that pay-per-view event? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. And Max, he's behind stage. He sees this. He's like, fuck, we got to do this quick. I can't have the jocks lusting on Roxanne before I lust on her, okay? And he's like, Bobby, PJ, are we almost ready? He's like, we're almost ready, dude. We're almost ready. And so they're setting all this things up. Like, what are they doing? Like, we don't know. And we see that Bobby, he's just surrounded by tons of wires and equipment. He's like, hey, man, Maximilian, woo, we're ready to go, dude. And he's just snorting that cheese whiz. And so as Principal Major's talking, this big fucking screen comes down, chat. This screen comes down, and everyone starts reacting to it because they start to see all the static and images and everything. And we see Max Goof dressed up as Powerline, chat, doing one of his biggest fucking hits. To stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud, till mine is the only face you see, gonna stand out till you notice me. And Roxanne's just like, oh my God, I'm gonna have all of his babies, because he's just looking directly at her. At one point, he accidentally falls to the screen, winds up on stage, and she's like, oh, he's all for Max, and she wants to have his baby. And he's like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna lean into this. And so he just goes off on the stage, and he gets like this fucking close to her chin, like just like he can touch, their nose are almost touching, and he's just staring at her and just mouthing all the lyrics. And she's like, oh my God. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm getting the vapors. And he's lifted into the sky, still doing the standouts on, chat, just fucking killing it. And everyone's like, who is that guy? We see more sexually attractive anthropomorphic dog people, chat, just bouncing. It's like the amount of, I've never seen this much boob bounce in a Disney animated film in quite a while, chat. It's like, god damn. But they're like, woo, and everything. And he's doing fucking slam dunks at the basket, taking basketballs, doing that, singing the song. And it's fuck, but then, Wallace Shawn, the Principal Major, he's super fucking pissed about this. Like, this is the last thing that he wants to see, and he shuts this shit down right when Max is about to lift Roxanne to air and swing around for her and just make out and then have a bunch of goofy babies. He shuts that shit down. It's like, uh-oh, that's not good. And he's like, Goof! He's very mad. And then we cut. And now we're at work. We're at work with Goofy, chat. He works as a photographer in a mall. Goofy has, like, I know that's kind of like a recurring gag throughout his entire existence as a Disney character. He can never hold on a job because of what a klutz he is, because he's Goofy, chat. But apparently he's an excellent photographer, and he works great with kids because he has this one baby. It's that kind of thing that's struggling, like, okay, you got to take that perfect picture, and he's trying to get the baby to smile. At one point, it's like, hey, it's okay. He knows every kid's name. And I think it's kind of sweet. And she's kind of scared. And all of a sudden, like, he has this little squeaky toy to distract her, make her laugh. But he accidentally, at one point, it slips out of his fingers, and he swallows it. And so he's making the squeaky noise, like, and the baby thinks that's adorable, and she starts laughing. And it's like, oh. And he takes the picture, and she's doing all the cute little poses for him. And he's like, oh, Kimmy, you're always my favorite subject. And you're always my favorite person to take pictures of. And he takes her back to the mom. And the mom's like, oh, Mr. Goof, you are amazing with children. You're so good. He's like, oh, shucks, thanks. I just love working with kids. I've always loved it. Reminds me of my Max. And he's kind of sad. You see he's kind of sad in his face because he hasn't had an experience like this of his son in quite some time, taking all these pictures of him and everything. Because we even see, like, in a Goof Troop, and even most recently, chat, in DuckTales, which Goofy did guest star. And where he's talking to Donald Duck, because Donald Duck famously is one of his best friends, and he's talking about, like, his son, and we even see a picture of Roxanne and Max still together. It's still happening, chat. It's still happening, but also shaping, yes. You have to. I mean, it's weird. It's crazy thing about this, but Goofy fucks. Goofy met a woman, got married, fucked her, long and hard probably, and then they had a baby. The mother died. And so we don't know exactly what happened to Goofy's wife and Max's mom, but it has been stated that she did pass away sometime after the birth of Max. Don't know if there was complications or something else, but it was very soon after Max was born, which is pretty sad because, like, Jesus Christ. Like, there are shots of this movie where Goofy's, like, looking at pictures and just memories, and you could just see yeah, even though he's, like, always tries to be a positive character and things, the guy's gone through some shit. The guy has gone through a lot of shit, and when we get to him, and he's lonely, and in an extremely Goofy movie, he's even more lonely because there's no one in the house anymore, and he's depressed all the time. And it's like, God damn. And I think that's one of the reasons people like this movie so much, because, like, it's kind of, yes, it's Goofy, and, like, literally, and we have these songs and stuff, and there's ridiculous slapstick sequences, but it's weird that the movie takes a lot of time just to have a quiet moment with these characters where it's just literally conversations. It's just Max or Goofy or whoever just kind of talking to each other, and there's not something crazy happening in the background. And I don't know, I think that's why I like this movie, and a lot of other people like this movie, because there's just a lot of quiet downtime with these characters, which you would never think would be in a Goofy cartoon. I think that's what makes it really unique. But he's working with these kids, and then he has another kid, this little toddler girl, with this kind of like orange hair and everything, and the mom just she has that 1,000-yard stare that she's like, I'm just dead to the world, and he's like, oh, how you doing, honey? So good to see you again. But then Pete comes, just like, get out of the way, Goof, I got this. And which is weird to me that Pete also works at the mall as a photographer, because I thought Pete was rich. Which I'm very confused, because I know in Goof Troop he has, unless his fucking wife makes all the money, unless she's the breadwinner of the family, chat, I don't know. But he works there too. And it's like, stand aside, Goof, I'll show you how a professional does this. And of course he's voiced by Jim Cumming, does the voice of Pete. He does the voice of the Sasquatch. He even does the voice of Roxanne, this movie, chat. He's a talented son of a bitch. But he takes the girl, and the girl's like instantly just like, I want nothing to do with you. He's struggling to get a hold of her. And Goofy's like, well, you sure know how to take care of kids there, Pete. And when he takes like this Velcro sticky stuff, puts it on the little like table that they're taking the pictures of, and puts some on her diaper. And so she just stays there, and she's struggling. But Goofy knows what she needs. And so he comes over there with a Bambi, stuffed animal, and gives it to her. And she's like, yay. And then Pete takes it away because he's a dick, and she starts crying. And well, that's the thing about kids, Goof. You got to make sure that they need to know who's boss in any given situation. It's what you got to do with Max. He's like, oh, Max and I, we have our ups and downs, but he's still a really good kid. And he was like, oh, whatever you say. As soon as he said he's a really good kid, make sure that your son's not going to be a goddamn criminal delinquent. We instantly cut back to the school chat where Max has his head in his hands and he's talking to fucking Bobby, and who is just still huffing that cheese whiz, chat. It's like, stop it. You're gonna become addicted to more illicit substances. And he's like, my life is over. I embarrassed myself in front of Roxanne, and now my dad's gonna get mad. It's like, this is the worst. This is the worst day of my life. And then Bobby's like, hey, Maximilian. He's like, what is it, Bobby? And he's like, fucking Leaning Tower of Cheese. And he made out of the Cheese Whiz, chat, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, except it's made out of Cheese Whiz. And he just eats that shit. And again, gross, just so gross. He's like, sloppy sounds, and it's all going. He's like, what do you do that for? Why do you do that? And then we cut, and then PJ's walking out of the principal office, and PJ's like, oh, when my dad finds out, he's gonna squash me like a bug. So PJ, there's no doubt in my mind. Moon Cocoon, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you, Moon Cocoon. How you doing, my friend? I hope you've been having a very nice stream. What was on your docket for today? Just doing a spoiler review for a goofy movie. It's been a fun time so far. Thank you with a very, very kind raid. Cheers and salute to you. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather. You're shaking the pills heaven as we speak. Very nice. Very nice. Brother Moon! Oh, I love that. Next time we see PJ, Pete has he made his son his slave, pretty much. Under your thumb, goof, as he says. He's just going to say, I could squash you like a bug right now, but this is Disney, so I can't. No, the thing is, he definitely beats his son. There is no doubt, if I ever got my chance to do like a darker version of Goof Troop, I would have where Pete beats PJ. That's what I would do. Tiger GD, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing very well. That kid definitely is getting beaten by Pete. There's no way he's not. Unless the mother's there, unless Peg is there. That might be the case. But, PJ walks out, and he's like, oh, Jesus. And then, Bobby, he goes into the fucking TV, I guess the show, like the music video to Wallace Shawn. Oh, we also see in Wallace Shawn's office, Principal Mazur's office, he has all these paddles from back in the day that he can't use anymore. Some of them are spiked. He has whips. Kinky. That's his fucking game room, Chad. It's very kinky. It looks like 50 Shades of Grey in Principal Mazur's office, Chad. And it's like, oh, well. At least fucking Bobby still has his cheese whiz. And Max is just still sitting there. He's got his head in his hands. He's like, oh, what am I going to do? And then who walks in, Chad? Fucking Stacy and Roxanne, because Stacy's picking up some stuff, from the student assembly, and she's the president of the student body. And Roxanne spots Max, and she's like, "Oh, geez, he's here." And Stacy's like, "Go and talk to him." And she's like, "I don't know. He just seems really busy right now." She's like, "He's just sitting there, just go." And she's like, again, Roxanne, she has like these tells when she's nervous, and she's super shy. And she twirls her hair a lot, and she's like, ow, 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 and it gets stuck when she twirls it. And she's just to go over in there and talk to him. She's like, okay, just stop. And she goes over there, and she's like, no, I can't. She's like, tap him on the shoulder, Roxanne. Roxy, just tap him. And she taps him. He goes, and he's like, it surprises him, and he accidentally knocks the book and papers out of their hands. And she's like, oh, and he's like, oh, Roxanne, I'm sorry. Let me help you. And he starts picking the stuff up. She gets there on her hands and knees. Hell yeah, she does. And she starts picking all this stuff up. She's like, hey, Max, right? And he goes, yeah. My name's Max. Max Goof. You can just call me Max though. Maximilian. If you're feeling, fancy about it, you can call me Max. Max is fine. And she goes, okay, Max. I just want to say your musical number today during the student assembly, that was awesome. I mean, Powerline. He's like, yeah, he's a genius. He's like, yeah, and you nailed the song. You did so well. You knew all of his moves. That was like really, really cool. And he goes, oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. You're a fan of Powerline? She says, yeah. And I'm like, I'm a fan of Powerline. She goes, mm-hmm. And he's like, we know that Stacy, who's like standing over there and just kind of eyeing us weirdly, she has that pay-per-view party tonight, not tonight, but later this week. Are you going? She goes, yeah, no, I'm going, yeah. And he's like, did you find someone to go with the party? She goes, no. And he's like, well, do you want to go on with me to the party? I can take you. We can go as mutual friend couple date thing? She's like, yeah, no, I would really love to go to the party with you, Max. He goes, really? She goes, yeah. And he's like, oh, that's great. Okay, all right, I'll see you there. And that's the other thing too. I think he also asked her out on a date tonight as well. That's the other thing. So definitely going to go to the pay-per-view thing, but also going to go on a date with her later this evening. And she's like, hey, do you also want to, it's the last day of school. Do you want to go out later for stuff to do? And she's like, yeah, I love stuff. And so she's like, all right, let's do it. I'll pick you up at your house. She's like, great. And she's like, she's all getting flustered too. And she backs up and she's like, oh, it's the wall, doors, and bye. And she runs away. It's super fucking cute. It's super fucking cute. Then House of Mouse made this shit. Oh, did they? See, I know that she's also in House of Mouse, but I don't remember the context of it. I know they're still dating and things because this takes place in the same world as House of Mouse. It's probably after the events of Extremely Goofy Movie. But he's like, oh, fucking yeah. Like, he's like, this is awesome. This is so cool. And he just starts, he's so excited that he's like, he's doing the mamba, just like his fucking dad, Chad, just like his dad. And he starts dancing with the secretary there, and he's doing the mamba with her, and she's like, oh, no one's danced with me like this since the 50s. And she's very excited about it. And then Principal Major opens up the door, and he's like, God damn it, Miss Applebottom, whoever the hell it is, and he's just fucking mad, and he's like, Maxwell Goof, in my office now. And then eventually, Chad, we cut back, and Goofy's still at work, and he's still doing his photography. And apparently he's a very good photographer, so good for him. And I guess he does love taking pictures, since, the house is covered in pictures of his son and himself and things, and other things that they've done together. But then he gets like someone who else works at the mall says, oh, Goofy, there's a call from the school. It's about your son. He goes, oh, geez. And he goes over there. And he's like, hello, this is Mr. Goof. And, we see Wallace Shawn. We see Principal Major sitting in his office, and it's all fucking dark, and the panels are all highlighted. He's like, Mr. Goof, I just wanted to tell you about Max today. He's like, oh no, is Max okay? Is he all right? And he's like, he's fine, Mr. Goof, because he's looking at Max outside. Max is just fucking giddy because he gets to take Roxanne on a date tonight. He's going to be taking her to the pay-per-view event at Stacy's house. I mean, he's over the fucking moon. Despite being in trouble, he's like, I fucking won. I won. And Wallace Shawn's like, your son is a delinquent, dressed up like an urban gang member. It's like, Wallace Shawn is racist. Like Principal Major. Because in the movie Powerline, clearly inspired by Michael Jackson and Prince, Chat. And you also notice Powerline's skin tone is much darker than the other. Because like he's supposed to be black, I think. He's supposed to be black, and and so fucking he says an urban gang member, and I'm like, oh my god. And Goofy's like, what do you mean? He's like, he was gyrating on stage, thrusting at the young women of our school. If you don't get a hold of your son, he'll be sent to prison and then sent to the electrical chair. He literally says, your son's, am I lying? Am I lying, hand to God, Chad? Your son's gonna be sent to the electrical chair and executed. And Goofy's like, oh, fuck. He's panicking. And Wallace, before he hangs up, he's like, get a hold of your son. And he hangs up the phone. Look, the buzzing activities. This part is like, whoa, this is really animated nice. It's like, the thing is, they were able to get away with a lot of shit in the 90s, Chat. Now, you would never hear that dialogue, I think, in any any Disney animated movie, Pixar or typical Disney animation. It's just like, wow. Even watching this again, I forgot about that part. And Gooey's having a fucking panic attack. He's like, holy shit, I've lost my son. I've lost Max. What am I gonna do? I don't know. And then all of a sudden he sees this, and all of his attention gets focused on this display. And it's this little, fishing figurine. And it's like, it's an anthropomorphic dog, and he's fishing for something. And it's like destiny. It's destiny. He goes up to it, he picks it up, and he's like, that's it. Like destiny. And then we cut back to Pete, who was working with that little girl from before, trying to get her to take the picture and things. And Goofy goes right in the middle of the shot. He's like Destiny, Pete, I know what I need to do. He's like, what are you talking about, Goof? He's like, I'm going to go take my son fishing. I'm going to take him to Lake Destiny, Idaho, where me and my dad went all those years ago. Whoopee! Destiny it is. And he runs off, chat. And Pete's like, okay. He goes, all right, honey, let's take that picture. And he sees, chat, the only thing that's there is the girl's diaper. And he's like, what the hell? And we see, chat, the little girl running away with her bare fanny right in the camera, chat, which, again, you also wouldn't see anymore in a Disney animated film. But eventually, we cut back to Max, and he's on his way home from school, and he's just, he's over the fucking world. He has the girl of his dreams. He's gonna finally take her out on a date, and then later in the week, they're gonna watch Parliament together, something they love. And he's like, God, this is so good. And then he gets home. He's right outside the door, and then he sees Goofy. He sees his dad at the car. He's putting stuff on the car and, like, all this fishing equipment, all this camping gear and things. And he's like, where are you going, Dad? He's like, I'm going to go fishing with my best friend. And Max is like, I didn't know Uncle Donald was in town. And it's like, Donald Duck! He referenced Uncle Donald Duck, which I thought was fucking great. Yeah, I'm going fishing with my best friend. He's like, Donald Duck? And he goes, no, Max. You're my best friend. He's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's like, we're going to go on a fishing trip. It's your last day of school. No responsibilities, at least for not now. Come on, Max, let's go. He's like, Dad, what? No, Dad, take Uncle Donald or go with Uncle Mickey. I'm not, no. And he's like, no, Max, come on. We used to have so much fun together when you were little. Don't you want to have fun with your dad? Now he's like, no. He's like, now, come on. And he puts like this life vest on. He inflates it. He goes, it just explodes. He's like, Dad, I can't move. And it's like, we're going to go to Lake Destiny, Idaho. We're going to be traveling for the next week and a half. And then, I guess they live on the East Coast somewhere. I think they live in like Virginia or something. I get the sense they live in Virginia. And we're going to go all the way to the West Coast. And Max is like, Dad, listen, I don't want to go with you. I don't want to do this, okay? I have other plans right now. So what kind of plans could you have, all right? You're a teenage boy. What kind of shenanigans you getting up to? I mean, the last thing I want is my son in prison or, God forbid, the electric chair. He's like, what are you talking about? What? He's like, get in the car. And he's like, Dad, I'm not going. And then Goofy changed it up. He's like, well, all right, then. I guess I'll just go all the way to Idaho by myself. All alone by my lonesome. And Max is like, fuck, Dad, please don't do this. And he's like, no, it's all right, son. I'll just go. He's like, well, let me know if you need anything. He's like, God damn it, Max, get in the goddamn car. And so fucking Max gets in the car. And then, Goofy gets behind the wheel. He starts doing all of his checks. And he's like, all right, Max, let's say goodbye to our home. We're not going to be here for the next week. And Max is like, fucking great. And he pulls out. He's like, goodbye, house. Goodbye, tree. And he backs up. He just backs up over the fucking fence. He's like, goodbye, wood that I destroyed. Shit, I gotta fix that when we get back, Max. And they drive off. And Max is like, my whole life is falling apart. I have a date with Roxanne. Roxanne! He's like, Dad, before we go on this trip, can we please make a pit stop? Can we just go to this person's house, this girl's house? He goes, sure. And he drives her to Roxanne's house. And he's like, now don't take too long. The open road's awaiting, Max. And he's like, fine. And then he gets out of the car and he's like, I'm gonna look like such an asshole, literally canceling a date I just made with her an hour ago. Oh my God. And he goes up there and he knocks on the door. He's trying to think of something to say. It's like, Roxanne, I'm sorry. My dad, this fishing trip. But then as soon as the door opens, he's like, oh, Roxanne. He's like, what the hell? And he looks up and we see this mountain of a man, this bulldog looking guy. He's fucking huge. And he's like, oh, you must be Roxanne's dad, father, parental figure. Hi. I don't know if she's mentioned me. My name's Max. I'm taking your daughter on a date. And this guy's just like, he's very mad. He's like, well, is Roxanne here? And he just slams the door in his face. And then we hear on the other side, she's like, Daddy, who was that? He's like, Dad, no, he's my friend. And, she opens he opens the door again. He looks really like down his daughter. He's doting on his daughter. And she's like, Daddy, this is Max. He's a friend from school. All right, I just met him, okay? He's okay. He's really nice. And he's like, and she's like, go inside. Because Max is like, nice to meet you, sir. She puts out his hand. He's like, oh, Jesus. She's like, Daddy, stop it. Daddy, bad daddy, go inside. He's like, all right. He goes inside. And she goes, hi, Max. So, yeah, I was just about to get ready for our date tonight. So where are we going? Do you want to do anything in particular? I know you said stuff, but I realized I don't know what stuff we should do. And she's like being super cute. He's like, yeah, hey, you want to talk? I know you have a beautiful home. And she's like, oh, thanks. And she walks down. They have this nice patio area, and she walks down there, and she's trying to get up on the banister, and he literally lifts her up by the ass, and the dad is peeking through the fucking mailbox going, "Ugh." She's like, Daddy, stop it, it's okay. And he's like, all right. Max puts her up there, and he's like, listen, Roxanne, she's like, I just want to say, I'm just really glad we're doing this, Max. I'm excited for tonight, obviously, but I'm also really excited to do the pay-per-view event with you. I think it's going to be really cute. And he's like, yeah, I was excited. She goes, was? What do you mean? He's like, listen, I'm going on this trip with my dad. He kind of sprained this on me, and I got to do it. I'm sorry. I have to cancel our date. She goes, oh, okay. Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. It happens. And he's like, when I get back, we can do stuff. She goes, yeah, no, totally. I get it. I'll just, she fucking guilts him here though. She's like, all right, goddamn it, Roxanne. She's like, I'll just go with someone else to the pay-per-view event, I guess. He's like, no. The thing is, Roxanne, it's that, I'm going to the show. I'm going to the Powerline show in LA. And she says, wait, what? You're going to the Powerline show? He goes, yeah, my dad's taking me. She goes, your dad is driving you all the way across the United States to see the Powerline concert in LA. Yeah, it's crazy. He just sprang on me just now. The thing is, my dad actually knows Powerline. And, back in the early years, before, like, you knew anything about Powerline, it wouldn't be in any records or newspapers or books or anything, just no historical significance. Yeah, he knows him, and we're even going to be on stage. And because, Powerline, he loves my dad. And yeah, I'm going to wave it. When I'm there, I'm going to wave at you. I'm going to call out your name and everything. And she goes, wow, that's like really cool. No, I totally understand. No, Max, I'm sorry. I understand why you would cancel the date. That is so cool. He goes, yeah, because I wouldn't cancel the date unless it was something truly like amazing. She goes, no, I totally understand. He's like, well, when I get back, we can hang out. And right before he can finish, he goes, mwah. She fucking kisses him right in the lips. And she goes like, more will be waiting for you when you get back. And he's like, oh! And she goes back inside, and he's just tripping over himself. And he's like, okay, yeah. She's like, have fun at the concert. Can't wait to see you on TV. He goes, yeah. Oh, fuck. And because he just told her a big goddamn lie, Chad. Huge lie. The fact that his dad knows Powerline, the fact he's going to be there in LA on the actual pay-per-view show. How the hell he's going to get, he's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then Goof is like, are you done talking to your friend there, Max? And he's like, yeah, I'm done. And they get in the fucking car, and he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point. And they're driving on the highway, Chad. They're driving out of the city. By the way, a lot of just we notice in the background they use 2D buildings here, but for some of these driving shots they use 3D. Too, which I thought was pretty interesting. But Goofy, Max is just sitting there just sulking because he wants to be with Roxanne, Chad. He wants to go on a date with her and do the pay-per-view event a week from now. And Goofy's just kind of struggling to talk to him at this point. He's like, oh, maybe I can look at my list. And he puts up this old list that all the things that him and his dad used to do, charades and bingo and all sorts of, boomer games. And he's like, oh, guess who? He's like, hey, Max, why don't we play this great game here? It's called Guess Who? and it's where you give me a few hints, and I gotta guess who you're thinking about. Let's start simple, right? He's like, all right, Dad. He's like, is it a man or is it a woman? Max is going like, oh, man. He's like, oh, man. Oh, that's a toughie. That's a tougher right there. Is it Walt Disney? And it's like, there it is. He's like, you nailed it, Dad. He's like, I told you I was good at this game, Max. And he's like, well, how about now it's your turn? What do you want to do? And he just ignores his dad, and he turns on the radio, listen to some fucking rock and roll. And Goofy's like, he doesn't like that newfangled rock and roll music, chat. You know, he's more of a country kind of guy. And so he's like, you know what? My dad and I, we used to listen to these cassettes when I was a kid going up to Lake Destiny in Idaho, and we put one of these in. And it's this fucking yokel country music, and Goofy just starts singing to it. And Max is like, no. And he flips back to the rock. Goofy changes it back to country until they're constantly going back with the radio, and it just destroys the radio and the cassette tape. And it's like, great, Dad, great. Now we can't listen to any music. Now the radio's busted. And it's like, well, that's okay, son. We're just going to have a tune of our own. And he does this entire because this is a musical, Chad. This was during the 90s Disney era where a lot of their animated films, majority of them, were basically musicals too. And so Goofy is doing this whole song number, and it's because there's so many other characters doing the song. I can't really do this one. It's like a duet with 15 other characters. But I like it too because we literally see Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck hitchhiking. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. I forgot that they cameoed in the movie. Why doesn't fucking Goofy help them out? They're his best goddamn friends. Like, Mickey's probably got to get back to the House of Mouse, and Donald's got to check on his nephews because who fucking knows what Scrooge McDuck has them into right now? And we don't know. But they still keep driving. They keep driving. And eventually, Goofy, he comes to the first big part of the trip that he wants to experience with his son, and he takes him to a possum theme park, chat. Which I guess is supposed to be like just an abomination parody of Disney World, but everything's a possum. And so, they enter, and it's just some country bumpkin bullshit. And Max is like, I don't think the health code is up to date for this place. It went out of date in 1976, Daddy's like, oh, that just gives it personality, Max. Come on, we're going to miss the live show. And so they go in, and they go into this kind of like Chuck E. Cheese-esque area, where they have these animatronic possums, which are all fucking breaking down and just look horrible. And they have this one employee who has like a 1,000-yard stare, who's been there forever and just gave up on life. And he constantly has to just hit the fucking machine to get it to work. But these possums start singing, and Max is just, this is living hell. I'm in hell right now. And Goofy's going, oh, I love these possums. Aren't they great, Max? I'm going to buy the cassette for the road. And he's like, ah! And he just leaves. He leaves the animatronic show. He's like, Max, where are you going? And they go outside, and Goofy sees like a stand where they're selling the possum hats. And he's like, Max, you're going to love these possum hats. Come here. And he gets a possum hat for himself, gets one for Max. He's like, Dad, I don't want the possum hat. He's like, nah, you're going to wear it. You look good in it, son. You look quite strapping. One of them lovely ladies is going to love you in it. And he sees all these fucking inbred women going, and he's like, oh, God, Jesus. They're not as nice looking as Roxanne, chat. And then he sees an area where they're taking pictures with actual possums who just look fucking confused. Just like, what the fuck is going on here? Why can't we just live in the wilderness? Oh no, I missed the crazy ass road song. Oh no, I couldn't do that road song to save my life. I don't know how I would be able to do it, but thank you for the 10 biddies. I know I can do a couple of the songs. But that one, woo-wee. But Goofy, he wants to get on the pictures, and he pretends to actually be a possum. He's like, hey, Maxie, look at me. I'm a possum. And Max is like, Dad, stop it. And then everyone's laughing at Goofy because he falls over, and the possums are just like, what the fuck is this guy? And then all of a sudden, everyone starts playing like this band because Goofy starts like, I'm doing my possum dance, Max. Everyone starts like laughing and like, ha ha ha, what a goof. And then we get some banjo music, ding, 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 ding. And then all of a sudden, Goofy's like, Max, get in here. Let's do the mambo, possum mambo, do. And, Goofy's dancing with Max, and Max is like, Dad, please, can we just stop it? Because then everyone is just pointing and laughing at the both of them. And Max is, as we know, is super self-conscious. He's awkward, and he can't handle that. He's like all kids. He's got that low self-esteem, and he's insecure. He's insecure. Then he lives the 10 minutes. It was crazy as fuck, though. Corpse, that's right. Corpse comes to life. We see one man who is married to this giant of a woman. I mean, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are hitchhiking chat. You know, Mickey's trying to get back to the House of Mouse. Donald Duck's trying to get back to his fucking kids, his nephews, before Uncle Scrooge gets them all killed. Like, I get it. It's a crazy number. But I wouldn't be able to do it justice. But they're doing the dance, and Max, he flips off. He's like, fuck it, Dad. Jesus Christ. I told you not to stop it. I told you to stop it. And he's like, Max, what's wrong? And Max walks away, and it starts pouring rain. It starts pouring rain, thunder, and lightning. And then Max leaves the theme park. He throws his fucking possum hat in the mud, and he's just on the side of the road trying to hitch a ride, just like, Uncle Mickey and Uncle Donald. And this car just goes by him and just covers him in water. And he's just like, I don't even fucking care right now. That was better than what I just went through. And then Goofy comes back. He's like, Max, is everything okay? He's like, no, Dad, everything's not okay. Okay? I told you I had plans tonight, earlier this week. I met some, you know what, you wouldn't even care. You wouldn't even care because you don't listen to me. He's like, Max, what do you mean? And he's like, you know what, just open the car. Just open the car. I don't want to go in that theme park anymore. And so Goofy opens the car for him, and he's like, Dad, just let me know when the trip's over, okay? And he's like, do you want your possum? He's like, I don't want the possum hat, Dad. He's like, okay. And so then they just drive away, and it's so sad. It's so sad. You beat it, doofus. That's what it says, yeah. But they just drive away. And, it's still very awkward between them. And then we cut, and later on, they're at some lake. It's not like Destiny in Idaho, Chad. They're somewhere midway through their trip at this point. And Max is he's in this park. He's looking out at this lake, and he has this fucking stick, and he's just poking the water with it. And it's doing it's vibrating the water and everything, causing waves and stuff. And when he keeps poking it, eventually the waves turn into Roxanne, who he's looking at, who's just lusting after him. He's like, he wants to kiss it. But then fucking Goofy's big dumb feet walk into his sexy Roxanne puddle. And he's like, how you doing, Max? Do you want to learn how to fish? He's like, what? He's like, well, I thought before we get to, like Destiny in Idaho, I'd teach you how to fish. Wouldn't you like that? And then he just walks away. He's like, no, Dad, I would not like that, no. And he just goes. And Goofy's like, well, all right. Well, you let me know when you want to learn how to fish. And he just keeps going. Goofy at this point is like, well, shit, I'm just going to go put up the tents then. He goes back and puts up all the tents, chat. He's getting all the things together, getting the fire going. And then all of a sudden here we hear bum, ba ba bum, 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 ba ba bum, 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 ba ba bum, 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 ba ba. And this giant tank-sized RV just comes right over Goofy's camp. And it's like, what the hell is this? Max comes running. He's like, what's going on? And then, Goofy's like, what is it, Max? And bonk, he hits his fucking head on the RV because it's so tall, and he falls forward. And then this slide shoots out of it, chat, this walkway. And it's like all this smoke and shit. And we see, who do we see coming out of the mist, out of the smoke? It's Pete, that big fat bastard Pete. Because apparently, Chet, he told Goofy he's going to take his son PJ camping to make a man out of him, quote unquote. And then Goofy looks and he's like, Pete? And he's like, Goof? Is that you? What are you doing down here? This is just serendipitous doo-dah, Goof. Good to see you. And it's like, oh, Pete, I didn't know. You said you were going camping. I know you're going to pick this spot. Well, yet here we are. And Maxie's like, oh, hey, sir, is PJ here too? He's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, he's doing whatever the hell he's doing, dancing or something, clean. I don't know what he's doing. You want to go talk to him? He's somewhere in the RV. I got lost in there the first time I go in. He's like, cool. And so he runs in there, Chad, looking for PJ. And we see PJ, Chad, he's doing a ton of chores. He's vacuuming. He's cleaning. He's using his big old butt to shine all of Pete's bowling trophies and stuff. He's got like a little feather duster like between his ass cheeks. He's doing that. And he's also sitting the fucking power line song, Chad, just doing his thing, stand out and everything. And fucking Maxie's, he's like, oh my God, what a goober. And he like unplugs the vacuum at one point, and you can just hear PJ just sing, stand out, and doing all that. And he sees Max, he goes, oh dude, I didn't know you were there. He's like, yeah man, didn't expect you to be there. Showing off your power line moves. He's like, oh man, don't you love it? I could have showed you a thing or two on stage. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, well, how you doing, man? He's like, how am I doing? going, dude, you're the fucking talk of the town. You're going to see the Powerline concert. You're going to be on stage with them. He's like, wait a minute. Who told you that? He's like, everybody knows. Everyone fucking knows. Yeah, I guess Roxanne might have let it slip, Chad. I wouldn't be surprised. Colonel Useless, good to see you. Baby Obama, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing very well. And, yeah, PJ's is excited about him. And Roxanne's going to be watching, too. Hey, good for you, man. She's quite a girl. And he goes, yeah, shit. Here's the thing, PJ. He's like, well, what's wrong, dude? He's like, so... yeah, you know, everyone else knows. There's only one person who doesn't know that we're going to L.A. And he's like, who? He's like, my dad. And then we cut back to Goofy and Pete, who he has a bowling alley on top of the RV, chat. And Goofy's just like, well, Pete, I hope you and PJ are having a good time. Max and I were having a rough spot, if I do say so myself. It's just, you know, the more I try to do with them, the more I just seem to push them away. And Pete's like, you know what, Goof, you got to do? You got to have him under your thumb. You got to show him who's boss, who's the authority figure. And he's like, well, I don't know, Pete. The more I kind of did that, the more he kind of seemed to resent me. And he's like, let me tell you something, Goof. My son, he respects me. He may despise me, even resent me, but he definitely respects me. He like fucking, he throws the ball down the lane, chat, and he's like, he hits all the pins, and it's like, strike. And Goof's like, well, actually, Pete, you might have missed one. And he's like, oh yeah, he only got 9 pins. And he's like, Goof, I'm gonna show you something. And he goes, PJ! And then PJ, poor fucking PJ, Chad, who looks terrified, runs up on top of the RV, and he's like, yes, sir. And fucking Pete just points at the fucking bowling pin. And PJ's like, right away, sir. And he goes over there and just kicks it. And he kicks it, and then Pete goes, ha-ha, strike, yeah. Ooh, I got it. Yeah, I got it. And like Max goes up there and Goofy, and they're like looking at each other like, this is a fucked up abusive relationship, chat. Like, this is not healthy. Pete's a really bad father. At this point, you know, like Max is like, oh, that's the thing. Pete's like, well, you know what, guys, since you're here, I was about to put a couple of steaks on the grill. Well, why don't you stay for dinner? It's like, that's actually the first nice thing Pete has done in this movie. Stay for dinner, have some steaks, and fucking, Max is like, oh, that sounds fucking great. And Goofy's like, well, actually, Pete, I thought I can go ahead and just take my son fishing. He has never went fishing before. And he's like, come on, Dad, let's fucking eat some steaks. And then Goofy's like, Max. And then Pete's like, under your thumb. And then Goofy's whole disposition changes. He's like, Max, we're going to go fishing right now. He's like, wait, what? He's like, now go on. Get your galoshes, get your fishing reel, get your pole. We're going out in that water right now. And I ain't going to tell you again. God damn it. And he's like, Jesus, okay. And he climbs down. Pete's like, hell yeah, Goof. And so they go down, and Goofy's right there, and Max is just fucking miserable at they're at the little right at the lake. And he's like, now, Max, I'm gonna teach you how to do a proper cast. And he's like, a cast, Dad? He's like, yeah, exactly like that. That's right. And he's like, all right. He does like, first you go to the south, and you go to the north, you go east, you go west, and then I'm a little teapot, and goes, woo! And when he launches it, Chip, before he launches it, when he goes south, he accidentally grabs onto the stake, one of the stakes that Pete's preparing, and he hooks it, and he goes, and you let her rip, son, you let her cast, and it goes, woo, and he goes super, super far, and eventually it just lands on this, on the shoreline, on a giant fucking footprint. And what waddles over, chat, and sees the stake sitting on the ground? Bigfoot. Sasquatch, chat. Literally big motherfucking foot. And he's chewing on like some bark or something. He goes, this fucking sucks. Throws the goddamn bark on the ground. Picks up the steak. Starts munching on it, but then Goofy's like, ooh, I think I got a big one, Max, and he starts reeling in, and the Sasquatch's like, and Sasquatch starts traveling through the fucking lake as Goofy keeps reeling, and he's like, Max, give him my camera, oh, this is gonna be a big one. And so Max hands Goofy the camera, and he starts reeling in, like filming it. And Max finally sees what Goofy really is. He's like, Dad. He's like, what is it, Max? What is it? And then we see just Bigfoot come into the fucking frame, and he's huge. He's like, he's like 8 feet fucking tall. And he's like, it's Bigfoot, Dad. And he's like, Bigfoot, Mr. Foot, if you don't mind, could you step to the side? I'm trying to get a good picture of my fish. And Bigfoot goes, rah! And Bigfoot is voiced by Jim Cummings here, Chad. He voices nearly every character in this movie. And they fucking freak out. Goofy's like, oh, Bigfoot. And they start running away, and they're running like, oh, Jesus, fates don't fail me now. They're chopping air. Max is running like fucking Tom Cruise, chat, Mission Impossible, big movie at the time. And then Pete, he sees them running. He's like, Bigfoot. And he just abandons everything, goes inside of his RV, chat, and just takes off. PJ nearly runs over PJ, chat, but he jumps in, and they take off running, chat, and leaving poor fucking Goofy and Max that fend for themselves. They jump into their car, chat, lock themselves in at this point. They're like, because they're just terrified. As Bigfoot starts wrecking their camp. And, Goofy's like, I can't believe that's Bigfoot. And Max is like, we got Bigfoot footage, Dad. We're going to be famous. But then Bigfoot finds the camera. He starts ripping up the tape and just starts eating it. And they're like, God, brilliant. Now we're going to be eaten by a giant man squatch thing. And he's like, well, Max, it could be worse. It's not like I left my keys outside or anything. Yuck. Oh, shit. And he left his keys outside. He left his keys outside. And, of course, Bigfoot finds him. He's like, oh, no. And so Bigfoot eventually finds some tunes, chat. He finds some music and a CD player, and he just fucking starts listening to some fucking music, chat, some power line. He's enjoying himself. He's doing all sorts of dance moves in the background as Max is just like, I fucking hate this. I hate all of this. I hate this is the worst. And then, we hear Max is hungry. His stomach starts growling. He's like, what was that? Was that your stomach, Max? Or was that Bigfoot? And he's like, nothing, Dad. I'm just hungry. It doesn't matter. And he's like, no. I can get you some food because, Goofy still cares. And he sees, chat, on the hood of the car is a can of soup. And he's like, I'm going to get that soup. He's like, Dad, no, he's still out there. And Goofy's like, it's okay, Max. I'm going to be all subtle like, I can be stealthy when I can be. And so he starts rolling down the fucking window and he grabs it. Bigfoot goes, he just almost grabs the Goofy, almost rips it out of the car. But he does get the soup can, chat, some alphabet soup. Thank you. Who is that coming in there? Oh, I forgot. I have the pause in the review. I forgot something. I gotta cut these off. I have the DT alerts coming in. Give me a second here, my friends. Give me a second here. Woo-wee. All right. Edit. So Goofy pulls in the fucking soup, chat, at this point. And Bigfoot's like, but he gets fucking bored because he's still listening to the tunes. And Goofy's like, well, I can definitely cook this. And he takes the cigarette lighter, which you had never seen animated film. He takes the cigarette lighter, and Goofy actually says, well, this is the first time we can actually use something like this here, which I felt like is like a little subtle reference. Like you never seen a cigarette lighter used in a Disney animated film like this. And he puts it on there, presses down, and puts the soup can on top so it'll heat it. And they again, just kind of sitting there in silence, and it's super awkward eventually. And Goofy tries to make conversation, and he's kind of almost like apologizing for what has happened so far. He's like, "Listen, Max, I'm trying my best. I went on the same trip with my dad. And we had our differences, and we fought and stuff. But I'm just trying to hang out with you." He's like, "I know you are, Dad. I get it. I just." There's this things is the soup almost done? Like, Max is about to tell him everything about Roxanne and what he's been through, but he doesn't. Like, a lot of this could all be solved with a conversation. And he's like, let me check. And he sees that the soup is done. And what he does is he fucking uses his teeth and he hits it, and he pours it into a cup. And he's like, how did you learn to do that? He's like, well, that's what your granddad taught me. He's like, wow, you really did a lot with him. He's like, yeah, I miss him. And that's where we learn that Goofy's father is also dead. And the face he makes when you see, because he's like, I'll miss him. And he just has that 1,000-yard stare at you as you realize, wow, Goofy's dad is dead. And Max is like, yeah. And he starts drinking the soup and everything. And he's like, you're enjoying that Hey Dad soup? He's like, Hey Dad soup? What are we talking about? Hey Dad soup. In the alphabet soup, what you used to do is you used to take the letters in it and you used to spell out things, like hello, Dad, or, bye-bye. He's like, oh, like ambidextrous. He's like, no, small words, Max, small words. I'm a simple man. I used to do all sorts of things with it, like hello and good to see you and I love you and all that. And Max kind of like is kind of awkward, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I remember that, Dad." He goes, "Yeah, no, it was nice. I just kind of miss those times, Max. You understand? He's like, I know, Dad, but I'm not a kid anymore. He goes, I know you're not a kid. I just want to be your friend is all. You know, he goes, I know. And right before the kind of like more awkwardness is happening, he's like, Dad, I'm going to get some sleep, but here. And he hands him the cup. And Goofy's like, oh, thanks, son. He's about to drink it. But he sees in there, he sees the letters, and it spells out, hi, Dad. And that just makes Goofy so fucking emotional. He's like, oh, he can't believe it. Max is going to sleep. He's like, good night, son. And Bigfoot climbs on top of the car and goes to sleep right on top of it, too. And they're all snoring all night. Max can't, eventually it's hours later. Goofy and Sasquatch are sound asleep. Max can't get any fucking sleep. He's like, I can't fucking sleep. This is a nightmare. And he's just up there. He's just staring at Sasquatch, staring at his dad. And he gets out like he sees a postcard, and he's like, I'm gonna send Roxanne a postcard. He starts writing, and he's like, Roxanne, first of all, I hope you're doing okay. I just want to tell you that I lied about knowing Powerline. And he can't finish it. He's like, God damn it! Like he's trying to do the right thing, but it's so hard and difficult for him. He's like, he kicks the dashboard. And it opens up the glove box, chat, and out comes the map. Because that's the thing. Goofy's been using this map, the same path that my dad and I took all them years ago, son. And he sees it, and Goofy has marked out the map, the path that they take. It's all fucking loop-de-loops and shit because he wants to go to all the other locations with Max. And he's like, there's a pencil that rolls down there, and he goes, holy shit, I can change the map. And so instead of going to Lake Destiny, Idaho, we can go to LA. And he's got to be like super stealthy about it. And he starts like erasing the line. He's looking at Dad. He's looking at Sasquatch. He's like, I just got to do it. I just got to finish it. And he changes it. And he changes the line, go to LA. And he circles it. But right when he circles the chat, like Sasquatch like moves a little bit. And he wakes up Goofy. And Goofy's like, oh, God, what the hell was that? And Max is like, ooh. And Goofy just kind of stares at him and goes, how many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon? How many? That's what he says. He goes, how many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon? And Max is like, 3.5? Goofy's like, yep. And it goes immediately to sleep. MGS theme plays. That would have been amazing. That would have been great. And he's like, okay, cool. And he puts the fucking map back in the glove compartment, and he rips up the postcard and throws it out into the car. And in the last words, he gets caught in some branches, and it says, I lied. So now he's lying to Roxanne and his dad, Goofy, chat. And then we cut, and apparently they escaped the Sasquatch situation, chat, relatively unscathed. They're in a diner right now. And, you know, waitress comes by, gives Goofy his pancakes, gives Max his eggs and bacon. And it's like, this eggs and bacon for you, young man. And Max is just he's just looking, he's just overcome with guilt about everything at this point. And she's like, excuse me, young man. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's mine. Thank you. And he puts it down. Goofy's like looking at him like, well, Max, is everything okay? He's like, yeah, no, I'm good. No, I'm good. Great, Dad, great. And he's like, you know what, son? You know, there came a point in my life where my father, he trusted me to be the navigator on our journey. And I want to bequeath that responsibility to you. Would you want that responsibility, man? So this is interesting. So again, because you think, okay, Goofy can't be that dumb. If he's literally looking at the map and sees that, okay, we're clearly going to LA now and not Idaho, not Lake Destiny, Idaho. So this is how they get away with it. Because Goofy's not as dumb as you think in this movie. And so now he's solely relying on Max to be the navigator using the map. So Goofy doesn't see the map for a good portion of the movie at this point. And so Max is like, oh, yeah, no, Dad, sure. He's like, I want to make an announcement. I want to announce to the world that my son has responsibility. He's like, Dad, you don't have to do that. And then Goofy then gets on the table and says, everyone, I just want to let y'all know that my son, Max Million Goof, is going to be the navigator on our cross-country journey. Yuck! And he hands the map and goes, woo! And shit. Like, everyone's actually kind of like, happy about it. It's like, oh, it's a nice little wholesome moment. And at this point, Max is like, fuck yeah. And we get this montage of all the fun stuff that they're going to doing. And they go across the country. They go to Louisiana, where they hang out with mimes. And Goofy definitely kills a mime, I'm pretty sure, Chad, because Goofy tries to do like mime stuff. He's actually pretty good at it, but then he cuts the mime's rope, and that causes a piano to fall on top of the mime, definitely killing him. And Goofy's like, go, get going. Get your ass going, Max. We gotta go in the car. And they take off. We then cut to like a theme park where fucking Goofy projectile vomits on all of the other people waiting to get onto the ride, because he can't handle heights and roller coasters. We go to a truck, a monster truck show, and Goofy doesn't like loud noises. And so Max, he decides like, all right, I want to take my father someplace nice. So he takes him to the biggest ball of yarn of all time. It's also made into a house. And Goofy's like, oh, I'm so excited. And they do all these things. They do stuff with that focus on Max's interest, and they do stuff that focuses on Goofy's interests as well. Like they bond over changing tires at this point, where Goofy nearly gets them all killed, but they fix the tire. And, they have some really good father-son bonding time, and they become closer, as they go on this journey. But again, Max is still maintaining the lie that they're going to Idaho, but really they're still heading towards LA. Eventually, they stop off at this hotel. It's called the Neptune Hotel, chat, which is, everything in this scene references Little Mermaid, where they park the car, they go up to the room, and they go inside. Everything's like, they have water beds of actual fish in them. There's coral covering everything. They go to the light switch, and it's Ariel. And what you do is, chat, to turn the lights, you got to flip open her brassiere. You gotta flip open her brassiere. And they're like, these animators are so horny. Just boom, chat. And he's like, good choice, Mr. Navigator. Yuck. And they're all bonding, having a good time. But then all of a sudden they hear a knock on the door, like, it's like, open up. It's the police. We know that you have the drugs in there. And they're like, oh, God. And they go to the door, but then it bursts open. It's Pete. He goes, ha, 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 ha. Ah, Goof, like father, like son. I got you both. And he's like, me, you didn't get me, Pete. I just did that so Max wouldn't feel bad. He's like, come on, Dad. You were scared too. He's like, not as scared as you. And they're all bonding and poking each other and having fun. Pete's like, looks like you two have been having a good time now, have you? He goes, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, hasn't it, Max? He goes, yeah, it's been a good time, Dad. And he goes, well, Goof, I'm going to enjoy the jacuzzi. Why don't you order a couple of pizzas for the boys as we go spend some father time with each other? And he's like, that's a swell idea, Pete. I like that. And so eventually PJ goes in there, comes in the room. Him and Max just start talking. And PJ's like, have you told your dad about Powerline yet? And he goes, no, I haven't, but we've been having like a really good time with each other. He goes, dude, you got to tell him soon. I mean, the next day you're going to be in LA. He goes, I know. It's fine. Well, I'll think of something. And then eventually, Pete, he's about to get in. He wants a slice of pizza, but he hears all this, and he's like, oh, shit. He knows about Max's lie. And so eventually we cut to Goofy. He brings in some pizzas for PJ and Max. And he's like, all right, Bull, so you go ahead and enjoy your picture show there. I'm going to go and join your dad to jacuzzi, PJ. You have a good time. He's like, all right, Mr. Goof, thank you. Thanks, Dad. And he goes down there. And Goof enters the jacuzzi. He's like, ooh, hot. Oh, until he finally finds that sweet spot. And then we see Pete's fat, furry ass in a Speedo. And you don't want to see that, chat, though I'm sure someone got off to this. And he just waddles into the jacuzzi, and the water just fucking rises 2 feet. And he's like, how you doing there, Goof? He's like, Pete, it's been great. I got to tell you. I mean, all that stuff you told me about putting my thumb over my son, it just didn't end up working. Just made him resent me even more and just caused us to fight. I just eased off, and we did things that he wanted to do, and I did things that I wanted to do, and it worked out. It's been going well. He goes, oh, really? Really? Is that the case? Well, hate to be the one to tell this to you, Goof. And he's like, well, what is it, Pete? He goes, well, look, your son is a delinquent. He's like, what do you mean my son's a delinquent? He goes, he's fooling you, Goof. He's manipulating. He's a liar. And it's like, what do you mean? You're not going to Lake Destiny, Idaho. You're going to Los Angeles. Going to go see that urban power line guy. He's like, now wait a minute, Pete. That's not true. He goes, I heard the two muties. He calls them mutants. He refers to his son and Max as mutants in the movie, which is weird. But he says, I heard the two mutants talking about up there. That's what's happening. Goof said he changed the map and everything. And Goofy's actually pissed off at Pete. He goes, now, Pete, I don't believe you. My son wouldn't lie to me like that. And he goes, Goof, I'm just telling you what I heard, okay? You check the map, Goof. Check the map and you'll see. He's like, I don't need to check the map because I trust my son. Have a good night, Pete. And he just leaves. Goofy's like seriously fucking pissed off. I think I've never seen this before. Him legitimately mad at him. But he's like, fuck you, Pete. And he walks away. But he has it on his mind. He's like, oh shit. And he goes to the car. He's sitting in the car. And he's just like, he's kind of frustrated. He's like, he doesn't want to believe what Pete said. And he hits his head against the wheel, just kind of puts it there. And the glove compartment box comes out and he sees the map. And then it cuts. And we get the scene in the movie that I think has made so many people cry. Because I'm like, the emotion we see on Goofy's face, the sadness, it's almost overwhelming. Like, I've never seen Goofy look this way before. Where it cuts and we see it's a first-person perspective of Goofy entering the room. And we see PJ and we see Max eating pizza, watching a show. Maybe it's Powerline, I forget. And they're like, oh, hey, Dad. Are you doing okay? And Goofy just walks by them saying absolutely nothing. And he just looks so downcast. He's heartbroken. And he doesn't say anything to Peter, doesn't say anything to Max. He's like, Dad, do you want some pizza? Says nothing to him. And he just lays down on the waterbed, puts his feet up, and just stares out to the wall, just looking at it. Dead eye. He's like, Peter's like, hey, dude, I'm gonna probably get going. You don't keep your dad up or anything. He goes, oh, yeah, no problem, man. And he's like, hey, man, power line's like, shh, dude, shut up. And then Goofy just, like, he knows. And then it's later that morning, and Goofy is just still quiet, still silent, just driving down the road. And, Max is just sitting there awkwardly, and he's like, Dad, you want to listen to some music, Dad? You want to listen to some music? And Goofy's just still driving, not saying anything. And eventually Max sees on the sign, it says junction approaching. We got to go either right or you got to go either left. And Goofy, his first time, Goofy turns to him. And he goes, I think there's a junction coming up, son. Let me know which way I need to go. You're the navigator after all. He goes, oh, yeah, sure, Dad, sure. And he checks the map, and then he sees the junction. It goes Idaho, California. It's like Idaho on the right, California on the left. And he's like, all right, son, I'm going to have to make that turn soon. Which way am I going? Am I going right or am I going left? And Max is like, yeah, and he's like, son, it's coming up quick. You gotta let me know. He goes, left! And he says left, and they go to California. And the look on fucking Goofy's face as soon as he says that, and the car skids against the side of the road. And Goofy just has this, I've never seen Goofy mad like this. Just pissed off. And he's just driving like this, you just feel the temperature in the car just increase, yeah. And Max, I think, is like the first time actually scared of his father. You know, he's like, I've never seen my dad angry like this. Never seen him so disappointed. And Goofy's fucking pissed. And he's driving. And Max is trying to make conversation. He's like, hey, Dad, you want to listen to that music? How about that game? How about that Guess Who I'm Thinking game? I'll go first. Man or woman? And Goofy just violently pulls off to the side of the road. Right, this parking right at this kind of like a Grand Canyon-esque area, pulls off the side of the road, he just stops the car and just tries to get out, but he still have his seatbelt on. He's just fucking fresh, just like, fucking goddamn fuck. And he takes the seatbelt off and he just goes over to the side of this wall and he just leans over looking like this. Just stay like what you do if you're mad. Like you're not looking at the horizon. You just need to get away and just look at something else. You're not looking at anything. You're looking into your mind's eye. He's just standing out there like this. Leaned over, hunched over, and Max is like, oh, Jesus Christ, oh, God. And Max, he gets out, he gets out, and he's like, Dad, what's going on? What's wrong? You tell me, Max, because I'm just fucking stupid. I'm just goofy. I'm dumb. I don't understand anything. I always mess things up. I've heard it before. But I would have never thought that my son, my only son, would have so much disrespect for his father. So yeah, I'm fucking pissed. And he's just looking out and he's like, Dad, if this is about the map. And he's like, Max, I trusted you and you lied to me. All right? And he's like, well, Dad, I didn't even go on this stupid trip. You just threw this on me at the last minute. Okay, you didn't know what I was doing. You didn't know who I was going to meet. You didn't even fucking ask me who we stopped to go see. You didn't even know who that person was or what she even means to me. Fuck you, Dad. And he fucking goes back to the car. And he just kicks the car, and then all of a sudden, it starts rolling. It just starts rolling down the road. He's like, oh, Dad. He's like, I don't want to hear from you right now, Max. I just can't hear from you. And he's like, Dad, the car. He's like, what? Oh, Jay, what did you do, Max? What do you mean what I do? You didn't put it in park, Dad. You've done this before. He's like, no, don't you give me that lip, boy. And they chase after that fucking car until they finally do get back in, but before they can get control of the wheel, it careens over the side of a cliff, chat, into the river below. And they're just like, they come up from it, and they lose all their luggage, they lose everything, chat, and they climb on top of the car at this point, and they're just sitting there, and Goofy's like, why did you do that, man? He says, what do you mean why didn't you put it in park, Dad? Everything that we've been through, okay? It's like, just leave me alone. He's like, well, son, and he's like, Dad, and he's like, Dad, I'm not a little kid anymore, all right? I'm not a little kid. I have my own things I want to do. He's like, I know that. I understand that. I get that. It's just, I love you, Max. I love you, and I'm just disappointed, and I want to still be your friend. I know you're growing up. You know, I just want you to love me. And Max is like, Dad, I do love you. It's just sometimes, you know, I just got to do my own thing. He's like, I understand that. And they have this whole musical number where they talk about each other and what they've gone through, and it's great, chat. And then eventually it leads to a conversation. It leads to a conversation and them finally making up because they start to talk. And Max explains, like, Dad, I'm sorry. I changed the map, okay? I fucked up. I really fucked up. He's like, Max, just tell me what happened. He's like, I met this girl. Okay, I met this girl. Her name's Roxanne, and we were supposed to go on a date, but that's when you dropped this thing on me. And I told her we were going on a pay-per-view event, but, you know, I said the reason why I had to break off the date is because we're going to the Powerline concert in L.A. because you know him, and we're going to be on stage, and I just messed up. I messed up with this girl who I really, really like, Dad. And Max and Goofy's like, wow, my son in love. I just never stopped to see it. I'm sorry, son. I didn't know. And he's like, and now I messed it up. He's like, well, the thing is, the fact that you're telling me this right now just means that we just got to go to L.A. We got to do that. He's like, Dad, there's no way. He's like, no. You made a promise now, and we got to go there now. But and he's like, wow, Dad, thank you. It's like, well, I'll do anything I can for you, Max. I love you. And I love you, Dad. But when they finally make this, you know, they come to a mutual agreement. They have the respect and love for each other. And all of a sudden, chat, the water in the river starts to pick up, and it turns to fucking rapids at this point. And they're like, oh, shit, they start to panic. And they realize that there's a waterfall right down the cliffside. And they're like, holy shit. But when the car is going back and forth all crazy and everything, and Goofy is thrown off the car, Max, he goes for his dad, but he's caught from some of the debris that's still attached to the car, like this tarp. It wraps around Max, and the car keeps turning over and under. And he's like, oh! And he's coming up for air and shit. And Goofy's like, Max! He's like, Dad! And Goofy, the only thing that he has in the debris that he managed to grab was the fucking fishing pole. And right as he sees the car just about to careen over the waterfall, he does the, all right, Jesus, east, west, south, north, I'm a little teapot. And he throws the fucking line, chat, and it attaches to the bumper of the car, and he's holding on to it for all of as much as he possibly can. You have all this strength on this log. He's like, son, hold on, son. And he finally pulls, but then it causes the log to break, and he's thrown forward. But thankfully, the tarp around Max, as the car basically careens over the edge, the tarp becomes like a parachute for Max, and he's like holding him up by like some debris and rocks and maybe like a couple of branches and shit. But Goofy, he fucking careens over the edge, but Max grabs onto the fucking fishing pole, as you know, as Goofy's hanging on by the bottom. But the thing is, the fishing pole's coming apart, like it comes like you put together in two parts, and the one part just breaks, it just unhooks itself, and Goofy's like, oh, and Max is like, Dad, and then Max remembers the lesson his father taught him about the fishing, about making the perfect cast, Max, and he does a fucking east, west, fucking north, south, I'm a little teapot, and he fucking throws it, chat, and he gets Goofy, reels in Goofy. And he starts pulling him up as they slowly, and Max's parachute activates, and they go all the way back down to the canyon until they land in the water, but they're safe. Car comes down there too. And he's like, son, you saved my life. You saved me, Dad. And they hug each other. And he's like, all right, son. Whoo-wee, that was exciting. But we got to get you to L.A. And then we cut. Hard fucking cut, Chad. Hard fucking cut. And it's, they have the stadium in L.A., and where apparently Goofy and Max have somehow snuck in via one of the trucks where the roadies operate all the equipment, and they're hiding in some cases for like some guitars. They open it up and they're there. I don't know how that happened. So there clearly was a scene cut from the movie. Maybe for running time purposes. But they get out, and he's like, all right, son, we're here. And he's like, where's this power line fella you're telling me? I can go ahead and talk to him, see if we can get on stage. He's like, Dad, I don't know if that's going to work. He's like, it's fine. Let's split up to cover more ground. And so they go their, separate ways. But right as the power line concert starting, Chad, and the fucking power line comes out there, Chad, and he's going to do his big fucking hit, Eye to Eye, everybody, and it's huge. And while Max and Goofy are searching, Max, he gets accosted by the security guy who's actually just doing his job. He's not a villain. He's like, "Who the fuck are you? Get out of here!" And Max is like, "Oh!" And the guys that chase him. Well, Goofy, he gets caught in one of the stage, decorations, where it's this big electrical Spencer's ball that lifts him up into the stage and electrocutes him, and he falls out on stage while fucking, Powerline is doing his thing. And we also cut back at the same time to Stacy's party, where we have the characters like, "Hey, where the fuck is Max? Looks like he's a goddamn liar." And like Roxanne's like, well, I don't know. Maybe he's coming out at the end of the show. I mean, it would be kind of weird for him to be at the front. And he goes, "Yeah, whatever you say, Roxanne." She's like, and she's so shy, and so it's just like, no, she's just insecure. And he's like, no. I'm sure he's gonna be there. It's fine. And she's like, if you fucking say another mean thing to her, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And they're like, okay, I'm sorry. And then we cut back, and everything. Goofy winds up on stage, and Powerline's like, Who are you? And he's like, and he just pretends to be like one of the Meanwhile, all Powerline's dancers, again, female anthropomorphic dog creatures with huge boobs, big asses, all in crop tops. Am I lying? But they're all dancing and everything. And Goofy starts fucking, he's like, I don't know what to do. And Max is like, do your fishing cast thing, Dad. Just do it. And he fucking Goofy just starts doing his fishing cast dance. And Powerline's like, well, I'm not gonna, stop the show. He fucking starts doing it too. And eventually the security guard, he's chasing after Max on the catwalk. And Max, the security guard dies. There's no doubt. Like, the security guard goes, he falls, most likely dies. Max winds up in the stage right in the middle of Goofy and Powerline. And he's like, oh shit. And he starts doing the dance moves. And everyone back at Stacy's party is like, holy shit, it's Max Goofy, it's Dad, he's with Powerline. And Roxanne's like, ooh, I'm gonna have all of his babies. And then, of course, we get the famous song, I got myself a notion, one I know that you'll understand, to set the world in motion. By reaching out for each other's hand, maybe we'll discover what we should have known all along, one way or another. Together's where we belong. If we listen to each other's heart, we'll find we're never too far apart, and maybe love is the reason why for the first time ever we're seeing eye to eye. And it's like, yeah, just killing it, just fucking killing it, chat. And everyone's like, woo, best concert of all time. Powerlines, get the fuck off my stage. No, he doesn't. Apparently he was very enamored and had a great appreciation for Mr. Goof and his son Max. We then cut to, we're back home, and the car is still somehow drivable, but it's falling apart at the seams. And Goofy is parked out in front of Roxanne's house, and Max is just like, Dad, I just don't know. He's like, son, just go ahead and be honest with her. The only way you're going to have a healthy relationship is if you're honest and you respect her. And if she knows how, and if I think you're a good kid, then she's going to think the same. I know who you are, Max, and you know who you are. The least you can do is just tell her the truth. And he's like, all right. And he gets out, He goes to the door and he knocks on the door. And of course it opens. He's like, "Hi, Roxanne." And their dad's just standing there, just like, And he's like, "Oh, hello, sir. Oh, thank you. Big Nike's the boss. Good to see you." Thank you for the follow. My new Huckleberry. Hope you're doing well. But Roxanne's dad standing there going, He's like, "Oh, hi, sir. Is Roxanne home?" And he just slams the door in his face. She's like, "Daddy, stop doing that. That's Max." And he's like, "I'm sorry." And then she's like, "Go, Daddy, go inside, bad Daddy." And she goes there. She's like, "Sorry about that." And she's like, "Wow, Max, first of all, I just got to say, that was so cool seeing you on stage with Powerline and with your dad. Oh my God. Wow. Everyone was so amazing and impressed." And he goes, "Yeah, that's the thing, Roxanne. I don't know Powerline." She goes, What are you talking about? You were on stage with him." "Listen, I lied about that. I didn't know him. We snuck into that show. Everything I told you, I lied to you. That day, I was going on that trip with my dad, and I got scared because I thought you wouldn't want to be with me, if we missed our first date and then do the pay-per-view show. I'm just sorry. I'm just really sorry. I really like you, and the first thing I did to you, like within an hour, I lied to you, and I just wanted you to think I was cool. I just wanted you to think that I just wasn't some loser." And she's like, and that maybe if I knew someone like Powerline, you would like me. And she goes, "Max, listen, I've liked you for a long time." He goes, "What?" It's like, "I've liked you a long time, and I started to really feel things for you when you laughed." And he's like, "What do you mean?" "Well, the last day of school when you went yuck." And of course, the thing he fears most, chat, becoming his dad, and yet the thing that she found so charming was his goofy laugh. Goofy. He's like, "My laugh?" She goes, "Yeah." And then she starts laughing, and he starts laughing too. And he does the yuck, and she goes, "It's so cute." And he goes, "Oh, thanks. I get it from my dad." She goes, "Oh, wow." And he's like, "Listen, can you forgive me?" And she goes, "Well, you can make it up to me tonight by taking me on a date." And he goes, yeah, wait, I can't actually do that." And she's like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, I got something that I'm doing with my dad tonight, but tomorrow we'll do a date. I'm going to take you on a date. I'm going to take you to a nice place." And she goes, All right, Maximilian Goof. Sounds like a plan." And she shake on it, and she's like, "Yes." And they shake on it. He goes, "Mwah," and he kisses her right in the lips. And she's like, "Ooh, babies." And she's like twirling her hair and getting all nervous and shy. And she's like, "Well, I can't wait." And then we cut because Goofy's working on the car, and the car goes or something. Like he keeps hammering on the bumper. And she looks over, and Max looks over, and Goofy has put the bumper back on. He's like, "Hi, nah, just putting the bumper fell off." And then boom, the fucking car just finally explodes. And then we hear we hear the classic Goofy, falling sound. And he crashes all the way into Roxanne's front porch roof, goes through it, and is right in the middle of Roxanne and Max. And he's like, "Nice house. Sorry about your roof there." Yuck. And he does a laugh, and he's like, "Roxanne, I like you to meet my dad, Goofy." And he goes, "Nice to meet you, Roxanne. I've heard all sorts of things about you." He's like, "Dad, whoa, you lucked the girl a lot." And that, my friends, my chat, is my scene by scene breakdown for a Goofy movie, the 1995 2D comedy cult classic, chat. Woo! What a review. I think my review was, matter of fact, longer than the actual movie. I am Baby Obama. Hello, Baby Obama. Fun review. Thank you. Golf clap. And we don't see Roxanne again, except for the odd cameos and DuckTales. True, which is too bad. We don't know what happened. Well, we know that they're still dating in not Goof Troop, but in House of Mouse, which just takes place in the universe of Goof Troop. So I don't know. But yeah, what would I give the review? What would I give this movie? I don't know. I think I would give it a, because some of the songs, I don't think some of the songs are like matching. There's some great songs, like the Powerline songs, I think are fantastic. I really like those songs. But a lot of the other ones, for the most part, they're like, yeah, they don't reach the highs of something like A Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, etc. So yeah, I probably like dock points there, but overall, I still think it's a great movie. I think it's great for kids. It's great for parents and taking their just watching that together. It's great bonding. Father son movie, mother son movie, whatever. Father daughter, mother daughter. Yeah, I would give it. It's a low full price to me, Chad. I would give this movie a low full price. Really had a lot of fun with it. It is a classic in my opinion. Very wholesome. My idea. So you want my idea, Chad? I told you at the beginning what would be my idea, my follow-up. So as you know, Chad, we had Goof Troop, which is the original series. Goof Troop leads into a Goofy movie where Max, who was in middle school, he's growing up. Now he's a teenager in the events of a Goofy movie. He goes on the trip and everything. And then we have Extremely Goofy movie, which he's in college. I want a sequel series. So if I would, because you know that Disney, they did DuckTales, they're doing Darkwing Duck and shit, and they brought back some of their other old school characters too within DuckTales. I would love it. They still, and they're doing like sequel series to like a Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, which looks really cool. I would love to see a Goof Troop sequel series where now it's Max, and it's Roxanne, and they have graduated college, and they're a young couple living together, millennial couple, and we're Goofy. He is also still there, but it's more focused now on Max and Roxanne and their relationship and them trying to eventually raise a family. And so you can bring in that classic Goofy stuff like from Goof Troop, Goofy movie, Extremely Goofy movie, all that humor and everything. But also, commenting on what our world is going for. Same what the kind of thing that DuckTales did, or what Darkwing Duck's about to do. Stuff like that. Modernize it a little bit. Goofier Troop. Yeah, call it Goofier Troop. And where I would have it where eventually Max and Roxanne have children. I think that'd be fun. Maybe I would have it where Goofy's also married to the teacher that he met in Extremely Goofy movie. Like, I would do that. Like, I would have it's a big fucking family. And they go on all sorts of adventures together, and they're just trying to, raise their lives and raise their kids, or live their lives and raise their kids. But that would be my initial concept is now, because, Max, I would think, like, okay, he's supposed to be, I guess Gen X, but I'll make it such a way where he's a millennial. Him and Roxanne, maybe they're in their mid or late 20s, and they're trying to have a family. I think that would be my pitch for a series, and where you pay homage and respect the stuff that came before, both in Goof Troop and a Goofy movie and Extremely Goofy movie. That's what I would do personally. Hey, you read any other 1995 Disney movie program? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But Runaway Brain, the Mickey Mouse short that was a callback to Frankenstein came over Goofy. Oh, maybe I saw that. I can't remember. It's been so long. And I would have it too where, I would have it connected to DuckTales. Like, you can have this all connected where DuckTales also took place in this world. House of Mouse, like Mickey Mouse. I would love, I know there's like some moratorium where you can't use Mickey in the regular Disney shows anymore, which I don't know why. Like, they couldn't use Mickey in DuckTales. Like, they can reference him occasionally, but they couldn't actually have him there, which doesn't make any sense. Yeah, exactly. It's Goof Troop, the Max generation. I mean, Goofy's still there, but he's a supporting character. It's mostly focused on Max and Roxanne. And their children, their eventual children. I think that's what I would do. Max is an untapped character. I agree. Yeah, I think it is. I think that's cool. There's potential right there because he was that character. I think for a lot of people that saw the movie, he's like, oh, he's for that younger generation. He's that kid. He's that teenager. He's that college student. It's like, okay, let's have him where he's he's my age, like a lot of our ages, where he's in his mid or late 20s and he's going through the struggles that his father went through, and he's in love with Roxanne, and they're doing their thing. They're trying to support each other. They want to have a family. I think that's what it would do. That's how I would do it. I don't know if Disney's listening, but take that idea. So you need that Darkwing Duck reboot, which is coming, which is definitely coming. It's a shame that like DuckTales got canceled, but I would even set it in that same world. Like, all this is connected. Goof Troop is connected to DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Rescue Rangers, all that shit. Let's do it. Nookie Movie Show would have to acknowledge that Pete's wife apparently divorced him before a Goofy movie. Yeah, Pete's wife is not in a Goofy movie or an Extremely Goofy movie. But we can have it where maybe that would actually be kind of cool if she's like, fuck you. That would actually be really interesting if they have it where they got divorced. You 1991 kids love the fuck out of this film for some reasons, because Alana Haim from Licorice Pizza said, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch Goofy movie. It's the best movie of all time. It's great. Listen, I'm a 90s kid, man. I'm a 90s kid. I love my Goofy. I love my Goof Troop. I love my Goofy movie. I love it. Extremely Goofy movie is good too. It's not as good as a Goofy movie. Like, I'd probably give like a high matinee, but it's still enjoyable. I think it's just because, it tackles a lot of great stuff. Max going to college and that college life, and Goofy dealing with depression and being alone and his fear of that, and wanting to still connect with his son despite him being an adult at this point. There's potential. I think they want to still keep that theme, because that's always been the theme of these Goofy adaptations. Like, we don't have to have Goofy just be the klutz that he's always is. Like, I really like that this movie had those quiet, dramatic moments. And it's crazy to talk about that because it's goofy, but it works. So, yeah. Oh, Frank Welker was big for the movie? Oh, I thought it was Jim Cummings. Fair enough. Fair enough, chat. Fair enough. Goofy does technically exist in DuckTales series. He was a homage. Yep, that's right. That's right. They can do it. Jay said, what did you rate this? I gave it a low full price. A low price. The only thing I probably lowered it from a full price movie was because I thought, other than the 2 Powerline songs, the rest of the songs aren't exactly, they're not on the same caliber as the other Disney Renaissance era movies. The animation's still good, though. Man, low full price. Looked a lot of emotion. This is good shit. Good shit. Goofy, I just read that, yeah. How much episode of DuckTales movie? I saw that one episode where he crosses over in DuckTales when he's talking to Donald, which I thought was quite interesting. Okay, love low, but it's an okay for me. Rental. Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I get it. Maybe it's a generational thing. I mean, I saw this movie in theaters and it just hit me, and I don't know. I just really like it. Plus, I am nostalgic for 2D animated films, because we don't get those often. They're few and far between. Outside of Studio Ghibli, or maybe occasionally like a Wolf Walkers, like we don't really see that except on TV, except on like television stuff. Yeah, 2D is, I guess, more at home on television, chat, like shows like Legend of Vox Machina most recently, or Castlevania. Wasn't there a Goofy movie for the PS1? Oh, maybe like a video game adaptation. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, game. Yeah. Fart, says Naya Brownie. Goofy's best in Kingdom Hearts. He's the most heroic, most different from the Goofy we know in other material. They can reference that. That would be fun. I think that would be really cool. Like, I would, again, I don't know if Disney never allowed this, but I would love to reference, like, other shit Goofy's done. Like, yeah, have his, like, do a Halloween episode, and he's dressed up as his character from Kingdom Hearts. I don't know, stuff like that. I think that'd be fun. No, I'm not saying, I'm just saying 2D in general. Yes, I'm not saying that Goofy movie is as good as Princess Mononoke, but Goofy movie is, I think, still great. But I'm just saying, like, 2D animated movies in general, we don't see that anymore. Outside of Studio Ghibli tried to get into 3D and it was, ugh. But like outside of Studio Ghibli and something like a Wolf Walkers theatrical release, they don't exist. Now I get to the games already. Naya's a little impatient. Naya, I'm talking about Goofy movie, goddammit. I think my review was actually longer than the actual film, which I've done before, which has happened. My Spider-Man reviews have all been, I think, longer than the real movies. Oh, yeah. Max and PJ Game Arts would be cool. You're a Goofy movie. You're goofier. You're a goofier movie. Oh, chat, I'm going to take a quick break, but we are going to switch over to some Far Cry 6 shenanigans. Thank you for all the support tonight, chat. I really do appreciate it.